When the draft ended last year in Kansas City, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said, Detroit, you're on the clock. Well, an hour from now, this clock has been ticking. An hour from now, the Chicago Bears will be put on the clock. Hi, everybody. I'm Jack Doles, and this is Draft Day in Detroit. We have got a team full of reporters in Detroit to cover the big event. Lainey Gerber, Teresa Weekly, and Alec John are all on site. This is a live look at the draft stage in Campus Martius. That's where all the picks will be made tonight. And fortunes and franchises will change. Fortunes like the Detroit Lions. Right now, let's take you live to Detroit. Lainey Gerber joins us. Lainey, you covered this draft in Kansas City last year in April. How's Detroit compare? Is this city ready for the spotlight?
It forced a transformation.
An extreme makeover, years in the making.
Very excited to see all those people downtown and get the whole world to see Detroit maybe in a different way than what they perceive right now.
Now, the city is alive, thriving and buzzing before the entire nation's eyes are on it for the NFL draft.
I wanted to just put Detroit in your face, especially for those that know Detroit from the outskirts. I just wanted to represent Detroit well.
Football fans in Detroit can take pictures with 20 giant cleats scattered throughout downtown. All are painted by local artists and will be auctioned off for charity of the artist's choice. And new murals are popping up. That's only part of what makes Draft Day in Detroit unique.
The first day that people could register for it, we had almost 100,000 people sign up, which is 2.5 times what signed up the first day in Kansas City. So I think it's going to be a raucous downtown environment. I think it's going to be dynamite for the city.
I was here for the formal announcement when it happened. And let me tell you something. A kid from New Paltz, New York, born in Elizabethton, Tennessee, introducing the governor of the state, Gretchen Whitmer, the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, the lieutenant governor, the mayor. You kidding me? Oh, yeah, by the way, Mrs. Sheila Hamp was running the Detroit Lions and owns them. That's not supposed to happen. And I knew that day that Detroit was taking dead aim on what the best draft was in terms of attendance. I can't wait to watch this unfold. I've been looking forward to it ever since I came.
Detroit is on the clock, but it's almost out.
Yeah, lady,
when Ford Field was shiny and new, it finally got to host the Super Bowl in 2006. That kind of provided a resurgence for this city, and now the draft is doing the same.
We got to help out the defense with us. So, Kool-Aid McKinstry's big guy from Alabama, so I think that's a safe pick. But, again, we're just going to let Brad cook.
If we have our guy and Dan has our guy and he's still available on the board, if Kool-Aid's on the board, I would love Kool-Aid. We love #1 Alabama players that wear the #1. So if Kool-Aid's available, we take Kool-Aid 100%.
He's kind of been a favorite since we've been out here, so it'll be a good time.
Fans are drinking Kool-Aid, especially the blue Kool-Aid, and they'd love to see Kool-Aid on this team. But we asked you before, we had a little audio issue. You were in Kansas City last year for that draft. Your impressions, how's Detroit compare to the two you've seen so far?
Well, I really liked the draft in Kansas City, but I have to say, I think I like it in Detroit more because the layout is just so easy for fans to get from the experience to the stage, and that shows. If you guys have seen shots of the stage full with all of the fans, it shows that this place is made to hold a lot of people this year.
Thanks, lady. Take it in, enjoy it. Should be fun. The great thing about hosting a draft is the excitement it brings to a city. But there is one scenario that could make things a little awkward tonight. What if the Lions are on the clock and they decide to trade out of the first round? Lions GM Brad Holmes addressed that scenario in a pre-draft news conference.
It's something that, look, we have to do the right thing for the organization, and if it makes sense and it lines up and it's the right thing to do, then we have to do the right thing. And so say that happens where The fans have been waiting there all night for this pick, and, you know, we get an offer that we really can't turn down. It makes sense. You know, we got to do the right thing, and hopefully, you know, our fans will forgive us.
Yeah, I think they will, especially with the history he has in the draft. We've got to take a quick break. When Draft Day in Detroit returns, we'll go one-on-one with two West Michigan athletes that expect to hear their names called. Marshawn Nealon of Western Michigan and Michigan offensive lineman Carson Barnhart. He's trying to become the first player from Paw Paw to go to the NFL since Jason Babin. Welcome back to Draft Day in Detroit. As a college football player, Derek Smith would love to hear his name called this weekend, and he will. For more on that, Teresa Weekly joins us live from Detroit. Teresa, he won't get drafted, but how thrilled is Derek Smith to have this opportunity?
He is so excited, Jack. He was speechless when he found out, for sure. He said he just couldn't believe it. He thought it was a joke or something. But it's incredible for Detroit, right, to have all of this international attention. What's happening here in Detroit, though, is not the only thing that led up to this unique opportunity for Derek Smith. It was something that happened in his childhood that set him on the path to what's going to come up this weekend. A long jump and speed make Derek Smith a go-to guy on Hope College's football and track and field teams.
Every little boy dreams about being drafted on draft night. And I understand that I'm not getting drafted, but
he's not. But you'll still see him on the screen during the NFL draft in Detroit.
To be on that stage and making a pick for someone else to have that dream for them is just an amazing opportunity.
Smith will announce one of the picks for the Denver Broncos on Saturday. He already loved the game of football at 6 years old. Not long after that, the way he would play the game or any sport suddenly changed.
So I was playing football in the living room, threw the ball up, shattered my leg, and then went to the doctor. They couldn't find anything, and then they told me that I had NF1 psoriasis of the tibia and that we needed to amputate soon.
Cancer in his bones forced doctors to take part of his leg. The loss did not change his focus or his drive, though.
Derek is up!
Smith qualified in March to go to the time trials for the Paralympics in Paris. His experience is also what led him to Detroit this weekend. The American Cancer Society nominated him to announce one of the picks.
He called me and says, "Hey, I have the opportunity where you could speak of the make a pick of the draft." And I was shocked. At first, I was like, "Come on, Mr. Dever, like don't mess around like that."
Smith hopes to set an example this weekend for anybody who's afraid they can't accomplish their goals.
Just being able to show that I'm able to do just as much as everybody else and being one with everybody is just so important.
So we'll look for Derek this weekend. We'll look for him this summer too in Paris, but this weekend, 12 o'clock Saturday, that's when the 4th through 7th rounds start for the NFL draft here in Detroit, Jack.
Now, what a thrill for him. We've covered him as a Hope football player and also a track and field athlete. Just an incredible kid. Thank you very much, Teresa. Every NFL draft features a couple of players that shoot up the charts. This year, one of those players is former Godwin Heights standout Marshawn Nealon. I've seen mock drafts where he's selected late first or second round. He recently went one-on-one with our Lainey Gerber.
Marshawn, has it hit you yet that you are on the doorstep of a pro football career?
It hit me a couple times. It's definitely, something that I've always thought about since I was a kid. So just being here, it's so cool.
You almost didn't come back to Western Michigan, but you did. How did this last year just really prepare you to play in the NFL?
Being able to play under Espo, which our D coordinator, him, Double D, they all prepared me, which a lot of the things that teams like, me standing up, me moving around, me going inside, showing off everything I can do, really helped for the draft and helped with teams, not having to guess what I can do, but seeing it on tape and being like, okay, this guy can do almost everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think coming from a MAC school that you might be doubted or overlooked for the draft?
Oh, I definitely was before, but I got invited to the Senior Bowl and obviously the Combine. I got to showcase my skills with the best of the best for this class, and yeah.
So what were those conversations like at the Combine? I know the interviews are a big part of it because you're coming from a MAC school. Were those interviews even more important for you?
They were. I feel like most of the time with teams, they like my film. So it wasn't really anything other than I go in there, they watch some of my film, they're like, hey, we really like you. We want to see what you know about football. And I show them I have a pretty good knowledge of football, and we go from there.
And I heard you say earlier that at the end of the day, you're taking someone's job. What does that mean to you, and how are you going to try to keep that job so next year when the draft comes back around, someone doesn't take yours?
Yeah, so like I said, it goes back to, you know, just outworking everybody and having it with no shadow of a doubt that you're the hardest worker in the building. With that being said, like anybody that comes through, they're not working harder than that. They're not going to work harder than me. So.
Is there a kind of team that you want to play for, a specific scheme that you think you fit best into, or do you think you'll just fit anywhere?
I feel like I fit anywhere.
All right, perfect, Marshawn. Thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Oh, it's going to be a fun weekend for Marshawn. Hopefully a fun night. When Draft Day in Detroit returns, Alec John joins us live and shows us how this could be a record-setting draft for the University of Michigan. Welcome back to Draft Day in Detroit. We're about 40 minutes away from the start of the NFL Draft, and this is expected to be a record-setting weekend for the Michigan football program. For more on that, here's Alec John live in Detroit. Alec, how many Wolverines have to be taken to set the record?
Jack, the number is 15. That's the amount of players the Georgia Bulldogs had selected back in 22 from one class. Now, just for the records here, the Wolverines sent 18 players to the Combine. That was a Combine record, and they say that's just the beginning. They feel good that they can break that draft record as well, and they say it all starts at where they go to school. Any team that wins a national championship is special, but at the NFL Combine, we got an idea that this Wolverines team might be record-breaking special.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like Schembechler Hall down there. I think we had 18 of us there. 18
Wolverines made the trip to Indianapolis, setting a Combine record. Now, they want to break a different record.
But when that day comes, you know, we're going to see how many of our boys, you know, go out there. So
Georgia set the record back in 2022. 15 players were selected from the championship team. The Wolverines would need almost all the guys who competed at the Combine to be selected. A tall task, but that's what Braden McGregor imagined when he was recruited 4 years ago.
I mean, that's the one reason why you come to Michigan, too, is just because that's what you get. So in the recruiting process, that's what they told me. And 4 years later, I mean, it holds true.
Drake Nugent didn't have that image 4 years ago. He transferred to Michigan last year and was taken back by how many NFL-ready guys he shared a locker room with.
Maybe I didn't think it was going to be 18 of us, but maybe like 13. Like I walked around the building my first week and I was like, there's some guys here.
Teams win national titles every year. So what's the secret with Michigan? How could this class potentially be the one with the most NFL players drafted? The Wolverines say, look no further than the Block M.
It was definitely a testament to why we're so good. You know, we just played for each other. We played for Michigan.
Skills you learn not only in football, but, you know, just as a man in general, you know, it's next to none.
Having that inevitable spotlight around Michigan football all the time. So when you combine all of that, like, this is the greatest university in the world to prepare for something like the NFL.
Now that guy, J.J. McCarthy, is the only lock, really, to go in the first round, but Wolverine fans should keep their eyes glued to rounds 2 through 7. A whole lot of former Maize and Blue players will be flying off that board, Jack.
Mike Sanders might sneak into that first round as well. Alec, Paw Paw native Carson Barnhart was one of the players that was invited to the Combine. We expect him to be drafted. What's the projection on him?
Good question, Jack. I think we'll go anywhere between picks 3 and 7. It gets a bit dicey once you go to day 3. But the thing you know about Carson Barnhart, whatever team drafts him, is getting a guy who's played a lot of football. He has plenty of experience on that Michigan offensive line. He's played more than 1,800 snaps, and he was constantly starting on offensive lines that were considered among the best in college football. He's big, he's athletic, he's coachable, and he's trying to become the first player from Paw Paw to be drafted since Jason Babbitt. What are you working on individually to make sure your game is at its best ahead of draft day?
I mean, the biggest thing right now is just getting snaps in and showing teams that I can be a 5-tool guy. And say that was the biggest challenge as well, is snap the ball, and now we got it down pat and feel good there, and think I could see myself playing center and guard at the next level. So super excited for whatever comes, and whatever comes my way, just gonna attack it every day.
What's it like getting to know some of these NFL organizations, these first meetings? Are there butterflies there, or how do you handle those conversations?
I mean, it's awesome to talk to all these organizations, and they know everything about you, so there's no lying to them or anything. Like it's so, you can tell how that business ran. It's ran well, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity to be a part of it, and just do the best I can when I get there and get a foot in the door and just make that 53.
You think that versatility you have, being guard or center, is going to really help you out come late April?
Yeah, I think that's really going to help me out a lot, to have that versatility and show teams that I can play different positions, and instead of having two guys, I can be one guy that can fill 3 different spots. So it's a good opportunity, and it's something that's really gonna help at the next level, I think.
I don't want to jump the gun, but I think it's safe to say you're probably going to be the first NFL player from Paw Paw in a long time. What does it mean to you to be able to say that?
It's awesome. I mean, I'm the first since Jason Babin. It's great, like, to look up at him as a kid, and now there's kids that are able to look up to me, and just want to do everything I can to show them it's possible, and to put my team, or to put my city and my little village on the map a little bit, and make them proud, that's for sure.
I know growing up you were always active in Rocket football, the younger classes making sure they brought up the right way. Having those guys watch you get drafted, do you hope it inspires the next generation of players down there?
Yeah, I hope it does. I mean, I think it already is, like showing guys that they can get offers. There's a guy there, Darren Stride, he's getting offers right now, and there's other kids that are building up too. Like, I'm just super proud of them and that town and that football team, and just can't wait to see what they can do.
What's been so special about following Carson through his career, especially from the Rose Bowl to the National Championship and now in the draft, his main priority has always been putting Paw Paw on the map. And this weekend, all we got to do is find out what team he's going to do it with. Reporting from Detroit, I'm Alec John, News 8.
And he'll be one of those guys, Alec, I wouldn't be surprised, like when he's on Monday Night Football, they usually say what college. He might be one of those guys that says, Paw Paw High School, Jason Babin. Thanks, Alec. Enjoy the draft. I know it's going to be a special night for you. All right, we've got one last break to take. When Draft Day in Detroit returns, we'll talk Detroit Lions with Jeff Risdon from Lionswire. What will Brad Holmes do? What needs will he fill as the Lions try to take that next step toward winning a Super Bowl? Welcome back to Draft Day in Detroit. I'm sure there are a lot of Lions fans out there asking, what about the Lions? What will Brad Holmes do this year? He has completely changed the fortunes of this franchise with shrewd picks since he became their general manager. And to try and figure out what he'll do, we called on the managing editor of Lionswire, Jeff Risdon.
It's a lot tougher when they're picking at 29 than when they are at 6 or 2. There's a few players. My personal favorite player is Illinois defensive tackle Johnny Newton. You might know him as Jurjan. Defensive wrecking crew on the interior. I would love to get him. I don't know if he's going to be there. There's quite a few players that are palatable this year in this range. And, you know, picking later, it's different. It's different for all of us who cover it. We're used to, like, having a pretty good idea of who the Lions are going to take, and we're going into this not really knowing what's going to happen.
It's kind of about time, right? That's a good problem to have. Last year, you were really high on Brian Branch, and the Lions got him in the second round. Is there a guy like that you'd yell to Brad Holmes, take him, if he's there when they're on the clock?
There is, but it's actually not in the first round. It's in the second round. That would be Kansas State offensive lineman Cooper Beebe. I love this guy. He is an instant upgrade at either guard position, and I say that knowing that the Lions are pretty good at guard already. He can also play left tackle in a pinch. They need a lot of help on their offensive line on the depth side. Look, every person that they draft this year, there's a very good chance that none of them will start in 2024. So you're looking ahead to 2025 and beyond. Beebe is a guy that can be a Pro Bowl player, and you can get him at 61 in the second round. I would be ecstatic if we got that one.
Will Brad Holmes ever draft for need, or is he always best available?
You know, in the past, it's been tough to ascertain which is which because they needed so much. This year, I think he can pretty much narrow down, and we will definitely be able to answer that question after this weekend. I will say I think that his view of their needs is a little bit more long-term than what the fan and a lot of the media reaction is. He's looking, this draft is not necessarily going to impact 2024. This is about 2025, 2026, and the needs that he sees on this team after free agency and retirements and things like that. And I think that's the way that he plays it. It's more of a slow burn on the draft, which, again, is very different for Detroit fans, and it's something that we will happily have to get used to if it means that we keep winning.
All right, thanks to Jeff. Be sure to tune in now to The Pick is In. That's next on ABC4. After that, at 8 o'clock, the 2024 draft begins. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Jack Doles for Teresa Weekly, for Alec John and Laney Gerber. Enjoy the draft, and we'll see you tonight at 10 and 11 to let you know how it all unfolded.